If you're selling digital files on Etsy or other digital platforms like Creative Fabrica, there is a huge niche that's completely underutilized. Sports cards. We're talking football cards, baseball cards, hockey cards, basketball cards, and other sports too. Now, I'm not talking about trademarked items, so you can forget about those. But they're a popular hobby for millions of sports fans. So in this video, I'm going to break down this underutilized market. I'm going to go through some options on what the digital products look like. And I have a quick walkthrough on how you can make your own templates using basic photo editing software. Let's jump in. Okay, so what am I actually talking about here? Well, if you go onto Etsy and you type in baseball card template, you're going to get a few results back. Now, there's 19,000 results, all right? So before you completely hang your head in shame and go jump off a building, hold on, because the 19,000 results, they get pretty wimpy after the first page. So here's a baseball card template here and a baseball card template here. The general idea is that you're not creating an actual baseball card for a professional baseball player. What you're doing is you're creating a baseball card that you can personalize for the soccer mom or the baseball mom or the hockey mom, and they can stick little Johnny on the baseball card and he can feel like a winner. So this is just Arc4 Studio is the name of the company, the Etsy seller, and they've got a pretty good looking little template. So I'm going to walk through how you can create something like this and you yourself can sell it on Etsy. Here's another one. That's a hockey card template. And you can see here we've got the same thing, first name, last name, and then we've got the front and the back. You can create a print which then you can hang on the kid's wall. You could make a poster, that kind of thing. And then you could also just do the back, which is a similar style. You would just have statistics on the back. There's also football card templates as well. And so we've got, as you can see here, if I scroll through, there's 29,000 results, right? So football card template, the top results are these trading cards. After that, it's not a lot. There's actual trading cards, like physical goods, which is not what we're talking about. There's invitations, but there's not a lot in terms of actual templates that you can sell. Here's another one, soccer card template. So you can let your imagination run wild because how many sports are there? There's swimming, track and field, equestrian. The list goes on and on. It doesn't just need to be baseball and or football, basketball, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's ask ourselves, who is the target market for this digital sports card industry? The first one would be parents of children who are actually playing sports. So I call these people soccer moms, soccer dads, but they could be playing baseball, hockey, basketball. The idea is they want to stick little Johnny's face on a card so he feels important and it's a great birthday gift, for example. Other relatives will chip in on this as well. Grandma and grandpa are looking how do we buy a gift for little Jenny who's on the swim team? Well, you could come up with a poster print that looks like a sports card and they feel like $1 million. Another one is teams themselves. So if you're part of a baseball team or a beer league team, don't have to be a kid, you could be an adult too. The idea of having a sports card that makes you look like a professional athlete, that can be a pretty neat feeling. Another one would be businesses as well. This is really funny, and I've done this in the past. You create a sports card for a coworker, as say a birthday gift or an anniversary gift, and you give them, a fake award like, Employee of the Year, Most Valuable Accountant, Rookie of the Month, whatever it may be. They really get a big kick out of that. And you can just make these funny as well. You can even have them for mom or dad, any relative. It doesn't have to be sports related. The idea with a trading card is it looks like you're a professional athlete, but really you're not, and that's kind of the joke. So there's really two main schools of thought here for selling these digital products. The first one is to create a digital template, and then you simply sell the template. So if you're using Affinity Photo or if you're using Adobe Photoshop, whatever the file is, you would actually sell the template, and then that would allow the customer to go in and add in whatever information they would like, name, statistics, age. They could basically monkey with the file themselves and then save it as a PDF, and they could get it printed or they could just save it as an electronic file. The other option is to create a custom product. So what would happen is you would list your template on Etsy, and then when somebody purchases it, they would supply you with the information. the vital statistics, little Johnny's name. They would supply a photo, that kind of thing. And then you would create the end result, which is typically a PDF file, and it could be sized to whatever the client would like, 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17. It could be the size of an actual trading card, that kind of thing. The first result, digital template, is easier for you, but there's a greater risk that someone's going to steal your template and just wind up modifying it a tiny bit, and then they're just selling it themselves. I happen to like the custom product idea a little bit more, because that way you're only selling a PDF file to the client, in which case they can't really modify it. Now, it's more work, but you can also charge a bit more for your time. And if you get good at this, basically you can make easily $100 a day. If you're charging $9 a print and you do 10 of these a day, you're cranking out, $90 a day. That's 100 Canadian at least. So you can make some pretty good money doing this if you really were to drill down and create a dominant business doing trading cards. So one resource that I've used over the years is this website called the cardcybermuseum.com. It's kind of a weird name. I want to say Cyber Card Museum. And really what it is once you log in, you just have to register. It's free. You can basically go over to Sets. So that's in the top menu. You just click on Sets and then Sets All. And then really from here, you can just take a look at any and all different sets. So if you wanted to look at hockey cards, for example, I simply click the hockey card filter, and then I can start looking at different hockey card sets. I'm just going to scroll back in time here a little bit, and I can see, for example, 1992. I'll just pop open one here at random, and we can see here's a whole bunch of different cards that pop up. I simply click on any card, and that will give me a better picture of what it looks like. Now, I'm not using this card itself. I'm just looking at the way it's laid out. So you can see there's a marble background. The name is on its side. There's the logo here. There's a nice picture of a person. And then on the back, you can see there's statistics and that kind of thing. So the idea here is I can save the card, just use it as a reference, but I'm certainly not ripping off the card. I'm not using a Flames logo. I'm not using the NHL trademarked items. I'm just using this as an example so I can make my own card look professional. It's really easy to do. You can basically look through different sets. And what I really like about these, if I click on football, for example, is you can go way back in time. So you can find some really neat retro-looking cards as well. So here's some from 1966, for example. I'm just going to pop open George Blanda here. He's a Hall of Famer. And as you can see, the styles have really changed over the years. So you can make retro-looking cards, modern-looking cards. The possibilities are really endless. Okay, so you can really make a trading card using any graphic software. I just happen to be using Adobe Photoshop because that's what I'm most comfortable with. But if you're using Affinity Photo, or if you're using Inkscape, or whatever you're using, it's totally fine. The biggest thing here to remember is that you want to have a template that's the same dimensions as an actual trading card. I'm just going to pop open Google here, and I've just Googled trading card size. And you'll see here it says 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Now that's pretty wimpy if you're doing a digital file, especially if you wanted to make a poster. But all you need to remember is just the ratio. It's 2.5 by 3.5. So when I pop open Photoshop and I go File New, what I'm going to do now is just make sure that my ratio is the same. So I could do 2.5 to 3.5, but what I'll do instead is I'll do 2500 by 3500. So that's the same ratio as 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches. So when I click OK, that's going to give me a trading card size that's the same ratio, height to width, as a regular trading card. It just happens to be much, much larger. One of the things that I like to do is I like to make sure I have a reference card on hand. So I've just picked an old Flyers card. I'm just using this as a reference. So what I'll first do is I'll just create a vintage paper background. So I just grab some sort of vintage paper wallpaper. And then from there, I'm just going to get rid of that. From there, I can then insert my picture of my kid that I want. So for example, here's my picture of my kid. Now I've cropped it because I've created a little frame around him. And so that's going to form the basis of my card. From here now I can also put in the name of the team. And then I can also put in different shapes on top of it. So I've just put in stripes, basically just layered it on. And then you would put the actual kid's name on there at some point. And then you could also maybe put a logo, whatever the soccer team's logo is. And I just picked one here off of actually Creative Fabrica. And I'm just using it as an example. So here's just a very basic card. This whole thing maybe took me 5 or 6 minutes to make, and I just picked this is just a stock image off of, I believe, Pixabay of the kit. So this is just an example of how you can create a very basic card. Now the idea is if you sold this as a template, this would be empty when you sold it. So you would just have like a stock image in there and you would just explain to the client you'd have to replace the photo. Another option is they would just send you the photo and then you would type in all this stuff as needed. So here's another example I'm going to use for a hockey player. So I've got a picture here of a young hockey kid, and instead of a vintage background, I'm actually going to use a metallic background. I'm going to use the same sort of frame, and then I'm just going to punch in my little picture here down at the bottom, which is really just a stripe with a couple stripes on it just to give it some texture. Then I'm going to put in the team name, but in this case I'm going to put it in vertically. From there I can then add in the person's name and their number. My last example, I really went a bit wild and I picked something completely different. So here's a picture of a girl basketball player, and I'm going to make it a little bit different than what we've seen before. So I'm going to have a round photo in this case, and I'm going to have a bamboo background, which represents like a basketball court, instead of a metallic background or a vintage background. Then we can also put in the actual frame if you like, but I'm actually not going to use the frame. I'm going to keep it just like that, and then I'm going to have a vertical stripe instead of a horizontal stripe. So that's a little bit different now. So I've got some different colors there that I'm working on, and then from there I can put in the person's name, and I can have their actual first name and last name a little bit different. And then I can also put in the logo. Perhaps the name of the team, I'm just making this up, is the Dragons, and then there's the person's number. So Dragons 34, Jessica Kent. This is all made up, by the way, and this is just a picture. I believe I got it off of Pexels. Well, I really hope you found this walkthrough helpful, and what I would encourage you to do is to go into Etsy and type in things like football trading card or soccer trading card, hockey, basketball, whatever your sport is, and take a look at the different templates that are offered. I really like this mock-up, for example. They've got team name written at the top, player's name, they've got the year, they've got just a stock photo, and they've got some pretty good front and backs here that really look, that are eye-popping. But remember, the possibilities are endless. Different backgrounds, different fonts, different pictures, different shapes. There's all sorts of different things. And as good as this template is, there's not many online. You can really, really let your imagination run wild. And you can take a look at some successful stores and you can jump into that niche. There's lots of opportunity for this sort of thing. Thanks a lot for watching. I'd love to hear your comments down below. And here's another video on how you can supercharge your digital design journey. Thanks a lot for watching.